You get an electric car and invest in a solar charging cooperative, and the auto industry and the energy industry are forced to change. It isn't about boycotting. It isn't about what you don't buy, because every time you refuse to buy concentrated animal feedlot operation or CAFO beef, some other hungry mouth comes along and keeps the company afloat. But when you buy regenerative agriculture-based silvopastoral beef and agroforestry tree cereals and you create a competitive landscape, that effort has to prevail, because the former, we know, is unsustainable and the latter is sustainable. That's why we study these solutions in this program. This means that if you support the alternatives that are sustainable, by definition, they have to be the ones to sustain. Otherwise, they simply get crowded out. That's the nature of politics. As they say, money talks and bullshit walks, but here we're telling you that it's good when bulls are permitted to walk and shit in rotated pastures filled with complex vegetation, and when we allow chickens to follow them as the bullshit is trampled into the ground to peck and scratch and make new soil ecologies. That's throwing good money after some good bullshit, isn't it? The nice thing about these drawdown solutions is that they really can be made apolitical, because they scale down and up so nicely. For big-scale solutions, you need big-scale politics. For small-scale solutions, you're at a human level where families and communities can see the results of experiments with their own eyes and touch and implement and try. The other solutions are really hard for the voters to get a handle on or a feel for. Let's take an interesting and tantalizing new geoengineering idea for drawdown: the application of massive amounts of tephra, or volcanic ash, to the ocean. A recent article in Chemistry World says, quote, "The team conducting the study calculate that depositing 50,000 tons of tephra, a bulk carrier vessel's worth, offshore could sequester 2,750 tons of atmospheric carbon dioxide. This, they said, equates to a cost of around 43 British pounds per ton of carbon dioxide sequestered, an order of magnitude cheaper than many proposed greenhouse gas removal technologies. The process could work anywhere where plankton grow in abundance but have low natural burial rates, as tephra deposits are available almost globally." Now, on the surface of it, it isn't such a bad idea. As the scientists leading the project say, quote, "Tephra is cheap, not limiting, and all the required tech already exists. Bentonites, altered tephra, are already regularly mined, so we don't need to develop new approaches," end quote. But then, quote, "Two issues remain," the article says: the concern that tephra could harm marine ecosystems, an area which the researchers concede needs investigation, and the fact that marine dumping in general is banned under the 1972 London Convention on Marine Pollution. Now, to solve these, we obviously need to engage in politics. But when it comes to changing your diet, to buying at farmers markets, to replacing your lawn, to planting fruit trees and other useful carbon sequestering vegetation, do you really need to get into much politics? No, not at all. With a free market, you simply buy what you want, and that changes both the economics and the ecological consequences. You can't dump tephra in the ocean yourself, but if you live on the coast, you could participate in oyster reef restoration projects here in Florida that many of our PCGS students have participated in. That isn't considered political. You could participate in seagrass restoration and in coastal wetland restoration projects already approved by the Florida legislature and for which there is funding available.